Oh, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. It's the first meeting of our committee this year. And before we get the festivities started, I will ask Brian to make an introduction.
Well, thank you, Committee Chair Pickles, and likewise, Happy New Year, everyone. It is my pleasure to announce that Colleen Goodchild is our new Director of Planning. Yes. So you may be wondering, where is Gary Mueller? Well, Gary Mueller is the region's new Director of Affordable Housing Development and Renewal. That's a new position that was created within the Social Services Department. Gary competed. It was an open competition and was the successful candidate. So we're glad that we haven't lost Gary, and we're glad that Colleen was the successful candidate as our new Director of Planning. And Chair, just by way of a few comments about Colleen's background, she joined the region in 2005 as a transportation planner, and from that point began a steady progression. In 2007 became a project planner and then a senior planner in 2012, and then left us for a couple of years to go to Oshawa, as a matter of fact, as the manager of policy planning there, but then wisely came back here and continued the progression. And most lately, Colleen has been the manager of policy planning and special studies. And as we all know, she led the municipal comprehensive review that culminated in Envision Durham, the region's new official plan. All in, Colleen has 22 years of professional planning experience in both the private and public sector. She did some time in the private sector. Is a graduate from University of Waterloo, and she's a registered professional planner, and outside of work she's very active in Whitby minor hockey. So again, Chair, help me welcome Colleen as our new Director of Planning. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Let's start with the roll call, Sarah, if we can. Okay, good. Chair Chapman is not with us today. Declarations of interest, any members committee? Seeing none, thank you. The adoption of the minutes from the meeting of November 7th, 2023. Could I have it moved? Councillor Kerr, Councillor Collier. Any errors or omissions on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We have no statutory public meetings. Under presentations, we have one presentation from Danielle Culp from the Active Transportation Committee. So Danielle, if you're here, oh, there you are. Okay, please come forward.
All right, good morning, Chair and committee members. My name is Danielle Culp, and I'm a project planner with the Planning and Economic Development Department, part of the Transportation Planning team. And today I'll be presenting an overview of the progress made in implementing some of the region's active transportation infrastructure initiatives and programs and ways in which the regional cycling plan is currently being implemented. Before we dive into details of the progress made, it's important to understand the vision for active transportation and what we're working towards achieving over the next 20 years. The Regional Cycling Plan was last updated in 2021. It focuses on actions and initiatives to support the expansion and enhancement of a region-wide cycling network that is connected, accessible, and comfortable for people of all ages and abilities, that considers the unique trip types and preferences of those that live, work, and play in Durham Region. Over the last 2 years, the region has made significant progress in supporting the advancement and promotion of active transportation through a range of initiatives that demonstrate commitments the region is making to improve active transportation connectivity, awareness, and education. The next 2 slides will give you a flavor of some of the advancements the region has made between 2022 and 2023. For starters, the region has secured $100,000 in grant funding from the Federal Active Transportation Fund to initiate a cycling wayfinding and signage strategy and bicycle parking guidelines. We're also working hard to increase the percentage of morning peak trips made in Durham using active modes of transportation, which includes walking and cycling, and is currently at 8%. The region installed 22 leading pedestrian interval signals between 2022 and 2023 to help make it safer and easier for people to walk and bike throughout the region. The region also allocated $540,000 in 2023 to help advance shovel readiness of infill cycling projects to help fill in the gaps in the network. 21 kilometers of new cycling routes were added to the region's primary cycling network in 2022. And lastly, over 367,000 social media impressions were made through posts on regional social media channels about active transportation programs, initiatives, and infrastructure between 2022 and 2023, demonstrating how the region continues to expand awareness of sustainable transportation options and the benefits of active transportation. In addition to the initiatives identified in the snapshot, a number of enhancements have been made through the addition of new cycling routes on regional roads. I'll now provide you with a brief summary of how we're progressing on network implementation to help us keep pace with phasing timelines identified in the Regional Cycling Plan and Transportation Master Plan. The Regional Cycling Plan identifies that 162 kilometers of cycling facilities be installed on regional roads by 2031. Throughout 2022 and 2023, the region has upgraded a series of existing routes and added several new cycling facilities to provide increased separation between cyclists and other road users to support different cycling trips and comfort levels. At the end of 2022, 21 kilometers of new short-term cycling routes had been constructed across the region, which is shown in the colored portions of Figure 1 as shown on the screen here. However, there's still a significant amount of the network to be actualized, which you can see in gray here. The region consistently reviews and updates proposed routes on an ongoing annual basis, and we're actively seeking out grants and other funding opportunities where possible to help with accelerating the implementation of the network. In addition to the new cycling kilometers added to the region's primary cycling network, the region has also made additional advancements to monitoring and measuring sustainable travel behavior and volumes of active transportation along key corridors to support and encourage safe cycling trips and help identify new priorities for connectivity and network build-out. For example, annual cycling counts were conducted across 296 stations during a one-week period in 2023. This last year, we saw just over 400,000 cycling counts recorded, which helps us better understand the volume of network users and determine locations for future connectivity improvements. Figure 2 on the screen shows the top counter locations across area municipalities in 2023. While majority of the counts are centered in the lakeshore communities, we can see that there is activity all across our region, which further demonstrates the need to continue to expand the network and provide high-quality, comfortable facilities and continuous connections between and within our municipalities. To complement the physical infrastructure and help encourage behavior change and a shift to more active modes of transportation, regional staff have implemented a variety of key initiatives, campaigns, and tools between 2022 and 2023 to promote and encourage active transportation. The region's hosted a variety of cycling supportive campaigns and programs, including the Pedal for Patients charity bike ride in May of 2023, to help bring communities together, showcase cycling routes, and promote physical activity while raising funds for cancer care closer to home. An e-mobility demo at regional headquarters was hosted in June of 2022, where members of the public, regional staff, and other key stakeholders could try e-scooters and e-bikes firsthand, creating an opportunity to learn more about e-scooters and e-bike devices, the rules, and regulations, along with safety tips that were outlined in the Regional Electric Kick Scooter Bylaw. And staff also delivered educational campaigns for safe cycling and promotion of active transportation through the region's Bike Month campaign. Together, these campaigns and initiatives have helped the region increase the reach and engagement with programs and cycling educational materials. So in terms of next steps, our priorities for 2024 will be to continue to advance short-term cycling routes by implementing routes identified through the Regional Cycling Plan and the region's 9-year capital budget and forecast. We'll also coordinate with area municipal staff and other partners to improve the monitoring and tracking of active transportation assets and establish a set of key indicators to improve evaluation and tracking of active transportation infrastructure, amenities, and programs. Through the funding received from the Federal Active Transportation Fund, we will initiate the development of bicycle parking guidelines, and we'll also continue to provide annual updates to Council on the progress made annually to advance active transportation and the recommendations of the Regional Cycling Plan. To conclude, it's clear that the region is making significant strides to support active transportation, and the work presented demonstrates the strong partnerships, coordination, and collaboration between Works, Finance, and Planning and Economic Development staff. It is critical that we continue to invest in active transportation in order to establish the region as a premier cycling destination, a leader in coordinating and delivering community-based cycling initiatives and programs, and to ensure that we achieve our sustainable mobility targets. This concludes my presentation, and I welcome any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. We will have a few questions by the looks at it. Councillor Kerr, you're up.
Good morning, Chair. Interim Chair, I guess I may say.
Vice, thank you.
Vice, yeah, well, yeah. Mr. Chapman will rejoin us next month. Thank you, Danielle, for your presentation. Just one line of questioning with respect to your, I think your first slide that showed 8%. Geez, I look pink on that video. Yeah, really? Am I that pink this morning? I'm not embarrassed. Anyway, I think your first slide showed something like 8% of rush hour, was it? Or
Morning peak
morning
travel,
peak
yeah.
was okay. So my question is, what percentage, if you have this information, can you ascribe to the other modes of transportation that are being partaken of at that time of day? Do you have an idea? I'm going
I'd have to
somewhere with
double
this.
check, but I have a rough figure in terms of at least what we're working towards. But I think about 80% is cars, so single occupancy vehicles makes up the majority. We have about 8%, as I mentioned, for the cycling and walking trips that are being made during that time, and I think around 8% for transit. I'd have to double check our passenger trip levels as well, but I can provide that up to you at a
I'd
later
be
date.
interested in that.
And then we also have our projected and what we're working towards for 2031. So for active transportation in particular, we're aiming for 10%. So we're pretty close to that at this stage in the game. And then for drivers, we're looking to reduce that further. Obviously, we want to get more people out
Okay.
of the cars and using more of our sustainable modes.
So I guess where I'm going with this is,
Yep.
in the next, hopefully, 4 years or less, we ought to see 4 new GO stations, 2 in Oshawa and Curtis and Bowmanville.
Yep.
And I'm wondering where you see the percentage of active transportation going with respect to those new GO stations. I mean, do you see this therefore as being an increasing mode of connection to the GO station and therefore increasing active transportation?
So through you, Chair, I believe that by adding more alternatives such as transit, building that infrastructure, we will see that increase in active transportation. It will be coupled because there's that multimodal connectivity, right? Our whole mandate is to help us get people out of cars and providing
Okay.
more options, right? So I do think that if we're able to advance our transit connections and build out our cycling network and our pedestrian network more broadly, we will be able to see that shift
Okay.
increase over time.
And I think in one of your slides, it showed the number of new connections that we've been able to foster over the last couple of years. So obviously, the more connected it is and the safer it is, the more people will tend to venture out and try active transportation. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's my line of questioning.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. And the cameras do lie because my hair is actually thick and luxurious. Councillor Shahid, you're up next.
Thank you so much. Lovely presentation. Appreciate it. Just was wondering in the or stand tall. Thank you so much. In your presentation, the 100,000 grant, I commend you to get that. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's something. How is it allocated throughout Durham region? That would be my question.
So the region, as well as our area municipalities, put through applications. We were successful with our planning stream application. So for us, I believe it's 50% is awarded for our cycling wayfinding and signage strategy, which is being undertaken at the moment. And then, as mentioned in the presentation, another 50% will be going towards the development of bicycle parking guidelines. So it's split between the two projects.
And how are they separated among municipalities?
So this is led by the region. So we're working with municipalities to bring them alongside us through this, given that signage and wayfinding and bike parking guidelines will help all of us. However, it is regionally led, given we submitted the application. There are other municipalities that did receive funding through this program as well for other network connections and other policies as well.
Yeah, Town of Whitby did, and we've extensively worked on wayfinding, so that's a good thing. Really appreciate it. Great presentation, lots of learning. Thanks
Great,
a lot.
thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any other questions from members of committee or visiting councillors? I'm not seeing any. Just, Danielle, thanks again. Just a quick question, and,
Sure.
and if this is more of a trails question, that's fine, but, oh, sorry, I didn't. Okay. Trans-Canada Trail. I hope you're allowed to use your bike on it, because I did. But bike and walking, it's not really clearly marked or to my understanding, sort of promoted well. Is that something we can do, or is that more a trails question as opposed to an active transportation question?
So it's definitely related. While the primary cycling network is primarily focused on our on-road connections, we do work very closely with conservation authorities and our area municipalities who help steward those off-road connections. So we're open to that collaboration to help further those segments. The other thing you mentioned was around signage and markings, and I think through the wayfinding and signage strategy that we're developing, that's definitely something we can sign to and provide increased signage so that we can get pedestrians and cyclists and other active transportation users to our trails through some of these on-road connections that we're trying to build out.
Okay, and when it comes to signage promoting and that, is that left to the municipalities, or does TransCanada have funding, or do you have to find a sponsor? Do you know how that works?
So I believe it's collaborative effort. We don't own those trails, but we can work in partnership through, some of these policies that we're developing to see what else we might be able to sign to. As we mentioned, we're always seeking grants, and grants, I believe, include a lot of partnership when it comes to who's going to put that forth, but to make sure that we're all working together from a cohesive perspective. Given that we touch so many different municipalities at both the local and regional level, it's important that we work together on these applications.
Okay, thank you. So Councillor Crawford would like to. Councillor Crawford? We're working on it, Councillor. Can you click your mic?
Oh, there we go. I'm on. So the idea obviously would be to have people take their bikes to the GO train, lock their bikes up, go to work, come home, get back to home. That would be your ideal in the ideal world. However, Ajax has sent 2 letters now to the ministry, or to, I guess, Metrolinx, wanting to know when we're going to get safe bike storage, because we don't have it at the Ajax station. Also, it is not safe on West New Road, that is where the GO train is, to ride your bike there. I'm a fairly experienced cyclist, and I would never go on Westney Road. Never, especially under the 401. It is at the hours of the morning that you're trying to get to places that you need to go somewhere else. It is not safe. So how do we make that safe? Because until we do that, that you will not have people riding their bikes to the GO train. You won't. And it's not going to happen because it's not safe. So the other thing, we have lots of recreational cyclists, lots of cycling clubs. They go north because it's much safer to go north than it is to go south. So I feel like I know I applaud what you're doing, but I loved the COVID years because there was nobody on the roads. I cycled my brains out during COVID, but now I won't do it because it's the people don't like you on the road, and they make it well known that they don't like you on the road. And so I think we have a long way to go in Durham Region to make it safe to go from my house to the GO train or also to a grocery store. There's not the setup. Like, where do you put your bike? If you go to the grocery store, if it's functional, active transportation we're looking for, we have a lot more work to do to make people feel like, yeah, I could go to the grocery store, pick up a few things. Where do I put my bike? So, just my comments.
So thank you for your question. Through you, Chair, if I may just provide a bit more insight in terms of what we are doing to help make that vision a reality. I think it's really a holistic approach. So there are pieces in terms of the priorities. So trying to move up some of those network connections further in our timeline. Say, for example, Westney Road is something that we can look at, knowing that there is that appetite, there is that demand for those connections to help connect to GO. It is very much collaborative effort because there are things that we as the region have jurisdiction over, but we also have to work with Metrolinx and our other provincial partners as well as our area municipal staff. So this requires all of us to be at the table and committed to help make that happen. The other thing is, as you'll see in the regional cycling plan, is we're trying to increase the level of separation, which in tune or complements that level of comfort. Depending on your comfort level as a cyclist and the traffic conditions, who else you're riding alongside, whether that's high-speed vehicles, things like that, we need to help address that through how we design the types of facilities that we're implementing. So that's something that we do look to each year to help us establish those priorities and what we can move up. The other thing is resources. We need to continue to invest in the resources, whether that's from a staff level, policy level, funding level, so that we can actualize that quicker. And through things like grants, we're able to move up some of those projects that perhaps were further down the line. And also coupling it with other road projects. So if something is coming up for renewal and we're already going to be going into that area to enhance the road infrastructure there may be opportunities to upgrade or add new cycling facilities to help make it comfortable for people like yourself. I believe that tackles most of your comment in terms of where we're trying to go, but it really is a holistic thing that we need to consider in partnership with a number of different players. So,
Thank you, Danielle. I think Greg wanted to jump in as well.
Through the chair, thanks for the comment also, and thanks, Daniel, for that response. One of the things that we like to highlight as well is that speaking with MTO, and I think it's a known fact that Westney is a bottleneck in the 401 connections. And as the MTO do their highway expansion and pre-works, we are trying to push that along, that they consider active transportation. And I think, projects such as, Brock or even that of on Thixon themselves, putting MUPs on the highway. In this particular case, Westney, we have identified that, especially with Metrolinx and MTO, that is a bottleneck, and and so when they look at expansion, that also factors in an MUP. I think the regional works staff have identified what that would look like leading up to that pinch point, but it hasn't been implemented because that jurisdiction doesn't fall to us. And then the second point I want to make is with regards to the importance of active transportation. I think the update that Daniel presented, especially with regards to the number of cyclists that we've captured on a weekly basis at count stations, like roughly 300 count stations, it's 400,000, right, within that 1 week. And when you factor that in, that's a lot of cyclists, given that we don't necessarily have a fully fleshed out network. And, just to put that into perspective, from a transit perspective, it's an average, I think, 1.5 million, right? So if you extrapolated that 400,000, it's pretty close to the transit, and so it just shows you that there's a lot of work that we need to do, and that then that active transportation component will rise.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Danielle. I'm not seeing any other questions, so that's the completion of our presentations. Thank you. We do have 4 delegations, and we're going to be starting with Zach Cahoon, the chair of the Durham Agriculture Advisory Committee, and I see him there in the first row, just waiting to jump up and speak to us.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Good morning, Region of Durham, councillors, regional councillors, and all staff. Thank you very much. My name is Zach Cahoon. I am a farmer, professional farmer. I live in Scugog Township. We farm from Port Perry, basically north, almost to Manila, Sunderland area. We farm in 3 townships and 2 regions, Kawartha Lakes, Brock, and Scugog. I'm here representing as the chair of the Durham Agriculture Advisory Committee, and I'm here to give you an overview of DAC's 2023 annual report. The role of DAC is to provide advice to the region on agricultural and rural-related planning matters. And in 2023, DAC received presentations and engaged in discussions on Envision Durham, regional official plan growth allocations and settlement area boundary expansions, draft regional official plan policies, the Barrett Center of Innovation in Sustainable Urban Agriculture, proposed updates to the rules of practice and procedure of the Normal Farm Practices Protection Board, and updates to regional roads and infrastructure projects, avian influenza, backyard chickens, which we have another issue coming up in Brock Township about backyard chickens, super fantastic. Bill 97, Helping Home Buyers Protecting Tenants Act 2023, the Provincial Policy Statement and a Place to Grow Review, the Regional Development Charge Bylaw as related to on-farm diversified uses, provincial tax classes, and consultation on proposed changes to Part 15 of the Health of Animals Regulations, Identification and Traceability. We worked with the City of Pickering on the Pickering Corporate Strategic Plan, Growing Agri-Food Durham Annual Report, the Greenbelt Plan. We'd like Councillors Watton and Neal also provide a lot of support for the committee over the past year, and the committee thanks them for their time on the committee. Mayor Watton, thank you very much for your help during the DAC tour. Mayor Watton came out, helped us set up, and then went and did other things. Much appreciated for your commitment and your support of DAC. Finally, I would like to thank my helpers at Planning and Economic Development, the committee, and the Regional Council for their continued support of DAC. Stacy, Jim, Allison DeVos, and all the people at Michael Scott that helped the DAC committee, and Colleen. We get a lot of really good things done, and we're very proud of what we can do for the region and how we help, and we thank you very much for that. Mr. Chair, this basically concludes my presentation. I would like to say one thing about your bicycling and cycling concept here, if I can indulge you for a little bit. We have fantastic east-west transportation issues for moving vehicles and transporting people east-west in the region of Durham. We have very limited north-south transportation issues. And I do not begrudge anyone that tries to ride a bicycle or does cycling on any road with the traffic that speeds up and down the Simcoe streets, the Highway 23s, the Highway 12s, or any roads. And then we look at my tractor, and my tractor basically is, one of my tractors goes from here of putting a paved shoulder on there, and it's fantastic for moving our equipment. Bicycles and cyclists, we need to do a better job of educating them about how we move our equipment on these roads, because we are there doing our job as well. And I don't want to hurt anybody, and I think it's dangerous for where they are, and it's all about education. The other thing is we have a lot of transport trucks moving north and south. And they are all leaving this region, and they all go up these corridors. And when I drive my truck, I am devastatedly scared of hurting somebody on a bicycle. And I think it has a lot to do with education. And yes, we do have some paved shoulders, but they're right against the active lane. And I'm not a very fast driver, but there's lots of people that pass me all day long, and there's bicycles on these roads, and I'm very scared for that. And I think it comes down to education and maybe some better planning and infrastructure on how we deal with these things. Thank you for my rant.
Thank you, Zach. And we do have the work plan on the agenda later on. Questions from members of committee? Councillor Kerr.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And thank you, Zach. At the risk of opening a can of worms, I'm intrigued by your, not this last piece, but the one you said about chickens in backyards. I hope you would appreciate this is a different issue in an urban environment than perhaps in more rural. So where are you coming from when you speak about this?
So I do not begrudge anyone that wants to produce or have chickens in there as a pet or an area. When we look at urban areas, I cannot see how chickens fit into an urban area. And I have an instant, easy solution for you. For every hen you have, for every 3 hens you have to have 1 rooster. It would solve your problems with backyard chickens. Because at 4:30 a.m., the alarm clock will be ringing. The other concern we have with urban areas and chicken production is rodents. Chickens and rats and mice go together. Chickens basically lay a food source for rats every day, well, every 26 hours actually. They lay an egg, and rats love that stuff. And it creates an active environment that is relatively warm and produces a vermin issue for not just, it's just disease transmission. And when we start getting these little pockets of area where we can transmit this disease from place to place, it spreads very rapidly. When we look at rural areas, Township of Brock, Township of Scugog, Uxbridge, less people per square kilometer. I don't see huge issues with backyard chicken production as long as you're not irritating your neighborhood. In a subdivision, I don't see where chickens fit. But if I own a large farm, I have 4 chickens. Sometimes my chickens get eaten. That is a fact of life. I have ducks, they get eaten too. Do we eat our eggs? Yes, we do. That's why we have them. Is it cheaper to buy eggs? Yes, it is. By the time you buy food and feed your chickens, it is more expensive than buying eggs at a grocery store. Is there disease transmission with avian influenza? Yes, there is. There is possibilities of this. As a chicken producer, I have been a chicken producer, we have regulations, strict biosecurity issues, and constant monitoring of these flocks so that this can be contained. So if there is an issue where there is a disease outbreak, it is contained instantly. Can anybody tell me how many egg producers are in Durham region?
Nope.
4? Maybe 4. Is there 4, Stacy? 5. I think it's 4 or 5. White Feather Farms. Okay? Phoenix Farms, Sunderland area. Clarington, a couple of big barns down there, probably produce all the eggs that Durham Region eats in a day, these farms. What would happen if we had an outbreak of avian influenza and one of those facilities was depopulated? That's the concern. And that's why these people are very concerned. Agriculture Canada and the chicken farmers of Ontario and the egg producers are very concerned about backyard chicken production because there is a limited number of actual large producers that produce the eggs that Ontario eats. And if we lose one of those barns, it is almost 5 to 6 months before that facility is back up into production. Because it's not like a chicken has to be 22 weeks old. They have to be regrown. The barn has to be clean. It's quite an ordeal to get a group of hens up into production. That's my concerns.
Thank you.
I'm not here to stop anybody from having their pets or growing chickens or eggs. I really don't care because I do it myself. But I wouldn't be doing it in a backyard, in a subdivision, because I know how dirty chickens are.
Thank you. We've been in the middle of a study in Oshawa about this, and your comments would be very welcomed, I think, in the preparation of the report. There's a study going on in the City of Toronto because we have a lot of people maybe of varying immigration backgrounds who may be more used to this where they came from. But I think there needs to be a real strong education program about the rather significant risks in a number of areas of what that can do. So I want to thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you very
this
much.
morning.
The ethnic population in Toronto and Oshawa and the greater areas is some of agriculture's best assets for purchasing our products. They are some of agriculture's best allies. All I had to do is go to Woodville Sale Barn. They are now the lamb and goat capital of for the community, and these communities are coming from a social network that produces or manages their own food supply that way. And I'm happy to sell them stuff.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Zach. Always enlightening.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Zach. I don't have anyone else showing for questions, so thank you for your delegation.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to come. And if you ever need any advice or help, I'm sure that you can pay me to give it to you.
Thank you very much. Our next delegation is Jay Cuthbertson, Vice Chair, Durham Environment and Climate Advisory Committee, I believe is joining us virtually. Jay, if you're there, you're welcome to proceed with your delegation. I'm not sure we can hear you yet. Do you have your mic turned on? Still can't hear you. Jay, we can see you, but we can't hear you, but perhaps you can't hear us. Oh, okay, you're working on it. Can you request to speak? On your screen, there's a request to speak. There we go. Oh. Okay, press it.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we gotcha. Go ahead. Thank you for joining us.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Good morning, Councillor Pickles, Regional Chair John Henry, councillors and staff. Jay Cuthbertson, I'm the Vice Chair of the DCAC, and this is the 5th consecutive year that I've been so. And I'm here to give you the overview of our 2023 annual report and the 2024 work plan. So highlights-wise, our mandate is to educate the committee members to make them more useful to the region. And to this end, DCAC received a number of useful presentations in the last calendar year. The Save the Soil Initiative, Building Energy Benchmarking and Disclosure Program, Envision Durham Draft Regional Official Plan Policies, Durham Region Organics Management Plan, Wetland KPIs, Rethinking How We Maintain Roadsides and Public Spaces, Friends of the Second Marsh Love the Marsh campaign, an annual greenhouse gas inventory, and restoring and protecting pollinator habitat in rights of way. The committee also provided advice on various issues, including input and comments on the draft Durham Regional Official Plan through Envision Durham. Members engaged in community outreach and stewardship activities, including preparing for and implementing a spring bee pollinator seed distribution project at regional compost day events across all 8 area municipalities, where members distributed pollinator seeds and connected with over 1,200 residents, and hosting the 2023 Durham Environmental Achievement Awards in partnership with the Durham Climate Roundtable, which took place on the 14th of November 2023 and was attended in person by over attended by over 120 in-person and virtual participants. Members of the DCAC participated on advisory committees, including local EACs, the Port Granby Project Citizen Liaison Group, the Dufferin Creek Water Pollution Control Plant Advisory Committee, Friends of the Second Marsh Board of Directors, and Ontario Breeding Birds Atlas. The 2024 work plan identifies activities members want to achieve over the course of the year. Work plan items are prioritized and include participating in a Durham Climate Forum in partnership with the region's sustainability team, invasive and native species management and education, exploring opportunities for a citizens volunteer program, participating in organizing community, environmental, and stewardship events related to tree planting and waste reduction, supporting community environmental awareness, including a pollinator seed distribution program, and planning for the next Environmental Achievement Awards program. Also, continuing to provide representation on public and stakeholder advisory groups. In summary, DCAC had many notable accomplishments in the previous year, and members should be commended for the time and commitment they have invested during the year. DCAC would like to thank Councillor Shahid for her involvement and enthusiasm and ongoing support for the committee. I personally would like to thank staff for their ongoing support, in particular Anissa Luckman, who served as our staff liaison for 2023 and many years prior, and as well as Sarah Siani, who assisted the chair with effective running of the meetings in accordance with regional protocols. Finally, I would like to thank the Planning and Economic Development Committee and Regional Council for their continued support of the DCAC. Mr. Chair, this completes my presentation, and I thank you for the opportunity to present our annual report. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them, in particular with respect to backyard chickens. Thank you.
Thank you for your delegation, Jay, and thank you for recognizing the participation of Councillor Shahid and our staff who do a good job to support you. I do have a question from Councillor Shahid.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just want to commend the work that the committee is doing. I know personally that the award ceremony was something exceptional, and the work that the residents are doing from one edge to Durham region to the other was remarkable. My question to you, Jay, and it's probably come to staff eventually, is the fact that how else can we support the residents who are really doing a remarkable work in whether it's pollinator gardening or saving some sort of in terms of bringing trees together, shrubs together, bringing people together to plant more plantation and stuff like that. So is there something that, I know that our work plan states a lot, and we extensively talk about planting trees and so on and so forth. Is there more that you would, or anything that you envision for 2024 and beyond? I'll be specific.
No, it's a great question, and I thank you for it.
I'd like to see if the residents who are so enthusiastic in the work that they do in their municipalities, how else can we help them?
So do you feel that this is from a recognition perspective or like a structural perspective, Councillor?
It is more of a recognition, yes, but also how we can amplify their efforts to do more. So let's say the lady who did the pollinator garden in Ajax, she can do more because she wants to do more, and she could probably make that learning in other municipalities as well. It's about holding hands, in my opinion, and maybe I'm answering my own question.
I agree with you. It is about connectivity. I think of Durham Integrated Gardeners as a spectacular example of a community-driven support network for volunteers that helps other community gardens get up and running. Um, you know, it's something that we look at as far as recognizing some of these bigger groups that are a key player in the region for sustainability initiatives, whether they're community gardens or pollinator gardens or even some of the bicycle groups. In Curtis, there's a fantastic group of cyclists that is retirees. They're organized. They have regular rides. They meet at the Curtis Library regularly and support each other. Those are the sorts of things that are going to drive the carbon reduction initiatives that we so desperately need. And so I think you're onto something there. And let's talk about it at the next DCAC meeting and how we can do better. Thank you so much.
Forward to it. Thank you so much for all the hard work for yourself, our committee, and staff. Thank you.
Colleen, would you like to weigh in?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Vice Chair. Councillor Shahid, I just wanted to also mention that a number of the local municipalities also have environmental advisory committees, as you're aware, and there's a lot of cross-pollination, not to use that term, but from our advisory committee to those, and I see that there's good sharing of good practices there, but also the idea that in the past we have joined forces and held forums for these environmental advisory committees to come from across Ontario actually to share best practices, and that's something that we could kind of consider if there's still an appetite out there with other environmental planning groups. And then the one piece I wanted to mention that you have spoken about at DCAC is related to building that volunteer base for other projects, and that is something that we're starting to investigate and is in the work plan for the committee for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Jay. I don't have, excuse me, I don't see any other questions coming forward, so I'll thank you for your delegation, and we'll move on to our third delegation, which is Ron Lalonde, Chair of the Durham Active Transportation Committee. If you'd like to come forward, Ron, and do your presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, Vice Chair Pickles, Councillor, and staff. My name is Ron Lalonde, and I chair the Durham Active Transportation Committee, DAC, and represent the town of Whitby on committee. I am here today, this morning, to provide to Council a brief summary of DAC's 2023 annual report and TART 2024 work plan. For 2023, with 2023 commencing a new term, we welcome both new and returning members to committee as we continued our role advising the region on matters relating to active transportation and pedestrian safety across the region. Further to this, we received presentations from various stakeholders and engaged in discussions on a variety of initiatives, including the following. We received 2 updates regarding the Durham Meadowway Visioning Study. Having successfully completed Stage 1 in 2023, the proposal is now moving forward to Stage 2, which includes preliminary design details and EA requirements as a next step. Regional staff member Daniel Culp, who just left, spoke to committee regarding the region's wayfinding and signing strategy currently underway with a focus on providing user-friendly navigational signage across the region's cycling network to key destinations. In support, our vice chair will be attending ongoing meetings as this process unfolds. The Durham Active and Sustainable School Travel supporting staff member Sandra McClaney, who recently left the region, unfortunately, shared with committee the ongoing work in support of developing elementary school safety zones, including case study results, and further plans for program expansion into year 2024. We look forward to engaging with new supporting staff member Sarah Hasheng in the future. Furthermore, our committee received updates including the following. Ontario-based Share the Road Cycling Coalition provided information regarding their provincially administered Bike-Friendly Communities program, including best practices and next steps to consider for future applicants. In follow-up, our committee has formed a subcommittee to explore application options which align with our 2024 work plan. Metrolinx, and you asked a question about Metrolinx. Metrolinx presented an informative GO Station access overview in support of active transportation users entering their 4 legacy parking lots across Durham. They also presented future station design concepts supporting active transportation as the corridor is expanded out to Bowmanville. We also received a Vision Zero update from Steve Kemp, Manager of Regional Traffic Engineering and Works, and staff member Shivani Singh regarding active transportation accident statistics across the region and the additional Vision Zero support now underway to enhance and improve AT safety. The Center for Active Transportation provided a comprehensive overview regarding the benefits of a complete streets design approach, which has been adopted by the region. Further to this, the region of Waterloo shared their approach to supporting active transportation as part of their strategic plan by fostering car alternative options utilizing complete streets design, augmented by extending their alternate transportation network. In addition to this, our committee also provided feedback to the region regarding the deteriorating conditions on the North Durham Rail Trail corridor, which forms part of the Trans-Canada Trail Network from Uxbridge across to Simcoe Street. Seeking solutions to this unresolved issue, our committee continues to work in collaboration with staff looking for alternatives. Moving forward, our 2024 work plan identifies activities our members want to achieve over the course of the year. Regarding active transportation and safety education, we look to be supporting the Next Steps initiatives now underway within Vision Zero, continuing to provide input on the region's active transportation and sustainable school program, and assisting the region's quest to obtain bronze-friendly bike status in collaboration with all stakeholders. Regarding infrastructure, we're looking to provide advice on active transportation travel, including advancing construction projects in support of the region's 2021 cycling plan, supporting the region's trail network, which includes the future Durham Meadowway, as well as promoting cycle tourism across the region. Regarding communication and advocacy, we're looking to ensure a consistent and open channel for active transportation communique amongst municipalities and other partners, and encouraging participants to attend our meetings with updates. In closing, our DAC members have had a very productive year and look forward to continuing our work into 2024. On behalf of the entire committee, we would like to thank Councillor Kerr and Councillor Shahid for their involvement and ongoing support of the committee over the past year. I would personally like to thank staff for their ongoing support, in particular Anthony, who has served as our staff liaison in 2023, and Committee Clerk Sarah Sian, who assisted with effective running of the meetings in accordance with regional protocols. Finally, I would like to thank members of the Planning and Economic Development Committee and Regional Council for their continued support of the Durham Active Transportation Committee. Mr. Vice Chair, this concludes my presentation. Thank you for the opportunity to present our annual report. Open to questions.
Okay, thank you, Ron, and thank you for recognizing the participation of Councillor Kerr and Councillor Shahid, as well as all the good work our staff do in supporting the committee. And we do have the annual work plan coming up later in our agenda. With respect to questions, I do have Councillor Crawford.
Thank you for that report. You touched on a hot button item that I feel like I have to ask. Maybe this is unfair, maybe you can't remember, but my question is around getting elementary students to walk to school. Now I realize the school board does use certain schools to grow communities, which means there's lots of busing and parents don't like buses, so they do end up driving. But what were some of the suggestions? Because I would love to know some of the suggestions.
So the report that was presented to us was a case study with a school located in North Oshawa. And there's this mindset of not being safe to walk to school. And it's ingrained and it's hard to change. And there seems to be this continuing need or want to hop in the car and drive a kilometer to drop Johnny or Mary off at the school, which is just mind-boggling. Why you wouldn't want to walk is beyond belief, but it just causes continued congestion at the schools. Secondly is the bus system that we're all paying for as taxpayers, and parents driving by the bus that Johnny or Mary could have got on to drop Johnny or Mary off at school. And it's a hard, hard situation to change. The perception of safety, lack of safety, fear of something happening to a child walking the 1 kilometer to school is ingrained, and it is so hard to change. However, it can be changed. In North Oshawa, they started to restrict driving and parking within 500 meters of the school. So parents had to then park the car that they drove the 1 kilometer to get out, to walk the half kilometer, to drop students off at the school, to walk back. So it is an ongoing challenge. And part of the solution involves all stakeholders, school boards, municipalities, and parent council advisory committees that are at the local schools as well, because they play a key role in helping to make changes to behavior. But it's a behavioral change that's really required.
And I also think too, it's from, I was going to say, the same bus that they passed by that they could have taken, we get yelled at when we cancel it because we have low ridership.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you can't win at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the question.
I could talk for hours on this.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Kerr.
Well, at the risk of sounding like an old guy,
would be
I
me.
remember when I was a kid, we used to poke fun at my dad because, you know, you always say, when I was a boy, and it always seemed like he used to walk 5 miles to school every day, both ways in a raging blizzard, you know, and the kids nowadays didn't have it, had it way easier. Thank you for the coffee. I tend to agree with Councillor Crawford. I understand parents' concerns for the kids, but we have so many crossing guards. We have so many great sidewalk and MUP accesses to school. It's difficult to fathom why more children don't walk to school, and I understand the concern about their child's safety. So I think this is an area that hopefully will gain a little more traction as things go on, and people won't turn to me and say, did you walk 5 miles to school both ways in a raging blizzard? Some days. Anyway, thank you very much for being here today, Ron.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr.
And Councillor, that was uphill both ways, right? That was uphill both ways. Thank you. Thank you, Ron, for your presentation. But we do have Greg that would like to make a few comments. Greg?
Thank you, through the chair. The region does have an active sustainable school travel program that we look at annually, and then we basically for elementary schools, and we work with their municipalities and the school boards, both the Catholic and the public, for nominations. I know that Ajax also has an active sustainable school travel program, and we work with that staff as well to complement. And so one of the things that we've looked at, taking a step back with regards to, policies work, but actions work even better, especially when you're thinking about the, impact on elementary schools. And one of the focuses that we look at are what are the infrastructure gaps that we could fill in. So we work with the DRPS with regards to the community officers, with the local counselor, and also with the school boards, the school board and the principal and the regional staff and local staff to fill in those gaps and basically document it with regards to what is that walk shed. So that there may be components that sidewalks that are missing, or maybe there aren't crossing areas that would be typically identified. So, we're trying to fill in those particular gaps and actually have that implemented within a year or two. So one of those actions, it's a living document in the sense that we create. So therefore, we're able to follow up with the respective stakeholders. So that the other component we also see is with regards to the school itself, the reorganization of pickup and drop-off locations, or even at a bus pickup. So therefore, it's in a more logical location as opposed to just convenience. And so we've found that in certain circumstances that, site organization will fall to the school. And this document also helps us to document that those recommended actions and holds them accountable. So I think, moving forward, there's a lot of schools within Durham that we need to do, but also with regards to the progress that we've made so far, I think we've done in the 3 years, we're approaching about 25 schools. So there are a lot more schools that we need to, see that these travel plans for.
Thank you, Greg. I have a couple follow-up questions. I'm not sure if they're going to be directed to yourself or to Ron, but Councillor Kerr, you're up.
Yeah, I guess following up on what the general questioning is, Ron's response, Marilyn's questions, Greg's response. Ironically, one of the risks to a child walking to school are all the parents that are driving and all the cars around the school, and let alone the buses. But I mean, the buses have a drop-off zone, but in my ward, we've had several issues where parents seem to willing to pull into people's driveways and park and then, either let their kid off between the cars to run across. Like, it's just a bit of a nightmare. And the people who live in the area are complaining because they can't get out of the driveway in the morning because somebody's parked there and they say, I have to get to work. They just look at them and just keep going. So it's whether they create a drop-off zone just for cars and no parking zones, it is an issue. But that is, I guess, from a parent's perspective, one of the risks that they see is the volume of cars around the school dropping kids off and how their youngster needs to navigate that to get safely to school. So I'm really appreciative of the program that you're doing. I'm really appreciative to Councillor Crawford for bringing that up, and thanks for your responses. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. We have Councillor Shahid to speak to this.
Thank you so much, Chair. I thought I should chime in too. This is it's an issue where all of the municipalities have complaints from. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand. I think it's more of a cultural change we have with more people moving in and more parents being more helicopter parents, if that's a word, or it's more of that kind of a thing that I feel that is more of a changing culture. I never walked to school because it was an hour drive, so that's how it was for schooling for us. But I can tell you that it is definitely a challenge. Another thing that I feel, and there's a question coming up, Chair, is the fact that especially in Whitby, in West Whitby, schools are more than 1 kilometer away. And that is what is becoming an issue. And if the cutoff kilometer is something that they are not able to get the bus or walk to school, is another concern. We are short 2 schools in West Whitby. And the population that we've got in West Whitby subdivision is huge. We had 2 town halls, and the biggest complaint that we got was the shortage of schools. And that is one concern, that we have huge issue with Donald A. Wilson and other schools in West Whitby. And I don't know what is the solution. It's a cultural solution, in my opinion, in terms of changing mindset. And the other thing is lack of schools as well. So I let staff respond on that. Thank you.
Through the chair, one of the things that we look at is a walk shed itself. So we have a 5-minute, 10-minute, and 15-minute, and we look at what the implications are, and hopefully that coincides with regards to where the students are coming from. I can't speak to the schools, the number of schools, but we do try to look at it from the busing, the car drop-off, and from walking, and try to look at programs as well. So it's not just the active sustainable school travel plan, but also throughout the school year, bike to school events with the schools that we have for the ASST program, and basically encourage kids to also think of those. And I think one of the things about this particular program, and also with regards to the bike to school or scooter roll, it's encouraging kids to have that mindset from early on. So therefore, when they do have kids of their own, it's ingrained. Right, so it is a particular process, and also hopefully it brings along the parents who might take that drive as well. That might be alternative ways to get to school.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Still waiting. Awesome. So I know that I will go and do some fact finding with the within our department, active transportation committee within our town, and find out what is exactly in terms of education we do to schools. How can we bring more education towards schools and parents and teachers and principals to build that mindset from maybe kindergarten or nursery school or however?
Through the chair, we do have also printed material and also campaigns. And so we're happy to engage in those particular schools. We do work through the school board because we need permission to engage with the principals. So it's not ad hoc where that we would just go up to the school and provide the material. So it really is that two-way communication that we need permission to engage.
Perhaps this could be a huge initiative that we could all start. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councillor. And I would just reiterate that there is a big problem with respect to the lack of building schools. And in growth areas in Durham and other places, and Pickering as an example, the schools are lagging behind 10 years sometimes. And as much as through our planning role we identify potential school sites, it's the province and the school boards that fund and construct schools. So thank you for bringing that matter forward. I do have Councillor Crawford next.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak. Sorry, is it Craig? Greg? Craig? Sorry.
Greg.
Greg. You had mentioned that you had consulted with 25 schools. You don't have to tell me, but if you could email me who you talked to in Ajax, because I have literally gone to schools, had meetings, gone to the school board, and it's like deaf ears. It's crazy. Like they're just not interested. And again, part of it is the lack of schools, so they use other schools to build a community, and that all works great in their world. It causes utter chaos in our world. It's like, and I also wonder, do you deal with schools on municipal roads or only on regional roads? Being that this is region, like I never even knew you did this. So this is great information, and you'll be sorry that I know about it now.
So Greg, you might just want to clarify your role with respect to transportation planning. So it might be good
You
to
might
tell
want
the
to.
council what you do and what you don't do.
Well, that's part of what I do professionally. Part of the program that we look at is basically the Smart Mobility Durham, and that's the transportation demand management umbrella. So it has both the Smart Commute Durham, it has the Active and Sustainable School Travel, and also has Cycle Durham. So these particular components. So focusing on the Active School Travel program, what we do have is a map that basically plots out by year, this being, I think, the beginning of the 4th year that we've had this particular program up and running. COVID did provide a little gap in that none of the schools that were to participate. But I think with regards to even the 2024 school year, we have 2 Ajax schools that we've identified that have been brought forward to us that we're working with. But I can provide that information to you. But our goal here is to also provide that transparency with regards to which schools are also participating on an annual basis. So we could share that map with yourselves.
Because I think pre-COVID, there was a program, I believe, it might have been the Active School Program, because I attended many, many schools where we went with, I think, our town staff and Durham staff, I believe, and we literally walked the neighborhood, and everyone pointed out what the town had to fix, which I loved. But anyway, it was good because you got to kind of listen to what people were saying and their concerns and whatever. Anyway, thank you. I've taken enough time.
Thank you, Councillor. I just remind committee that we're having delegations, and this is the appropriate time to have any questions go to the delegation. We do have the work plan coming up later if there's questions with respect to that. So Councillor Sheed, is your question with respect to the report and the work plan, or is it a question for the delegation? Because I think this is your third time up. I will recognize you if you can go ahead, but keep in mind that it's questions to the delegation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ron, and I know the work that you've done for so many years, and thank you for that leniency, Chair. Is there something that we can do within our regions committee as an initiative for walkability for schools?
Thank you for that question, Councillor Shahid, and thank you for your kind comments. In the town of Whitby, we have an asset sitting down at the bottom of a school, completely unused, and it's called Safety Village. And it is dormant. Why we're not using that facility to accelerate active transportation as a safe way to get to school is beyond, it's boggling. It's operated by DRPS, and what we hear is there's a lack of funding. So to your point, Councillor Shahid, perhaps some funding towards Safety Village, which is a tremendous gem of an asset, could be very helpful in helping to advance safe travel to school. I hope that answers your question.
We'll explore on that in the next little bit. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, and I don't see any further questions, so sorry to have kept you standing up there so long, Ron, but you've been very active, so we thank you, and as you represent the members of the committee, we thank them as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this morning. Just one real quick comment. The previous two delegates both mentioned active transportation. It sounds like it's a trend. Let's keep moving forward. I wouldn't be biased. And education is important. I appreciate what Zach had mentioned. I'm a northern cyclist, and I've interacted with farm equipment, so there's two sides to every story, and it's all users, all abilities, sharing the road network. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ron. Our fourth delegation is Sherry Colburn, President of the Spark Center, with respect to the annual update, and I believe Sherry's joining us virtually.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can see you and hear you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Am I able to, there we go. Okay. Well, good morning, Vice Chair Pickles and the Economic Development Committee and staff. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today to review Spark's 2023 annual year. I sent out a very comprehensive package to everyone. I'm not going to run through it all because I know we only have 5 minutes. So I'm going to really focus on, you know, the sort of the most important elements. If you could advance to the next slide. So to start, I just want to speak to sort of the overall structure of Spark Center. Spark Center is one of 17 regional innovation centers across Ontario, partially funded by the province of Ontario, whose funds are leveraged by community funding support as well from the region and, of course, the city of Oshawa. You may be familiar with Mars, Communitech, and Invest Ottawa. Those are the three large hubs within the network of 17. And over the last 5 years, Spark has been really trying to position itself to be kind of a fourth in-line runner-up. To that end, we spun out a for-profit company called Synergy Lab in 2020, whose mandate it was to really focus on attracting international startups and talent into the region to support our industry partners and employers who are short of talent. So between, attracting and supporting local entrepreneurs and attracting international entrepreneurs and talent, we're really trying to take a very holistic view to supporting industry and economic development in the region. The other thing that we do is we have a couple of other, what I would call provincial, or at least Eastern Ontario programs, one being the Ontario Vehicle Innovation of Network, which is an OCI-funded program. We are one of 7 regional technology development sites. And again, that is funded by the province through MedCat and subsequently through Ontario Centres of Innovation. And then locally, we have embarked upon a plan to really build out Eastern Ontario as an innovation corridor. And worthy of note, we were informed prior to Christmas that we have we will be getting renewed funding from the province for 3 years. And one of the new KPIs that the province is judging all of the RICs on is collaboration. So collaboration is becoming part of our performance metrics across the province. And of course, lastly, we have Creative Spark, which is our marketing agency within the group of companies, which really supports our clients. It supports our local community with, I would say, very high level marketing and branding support, which of course helps our clients market themselves and to sort of punch above their weight. I would ask if we could move to slide number 12. Yeah, keep going. It looks like a periodic table. There we go. So when people ask me what has Spark done, what is Spark focusing on, I guess the short answer is this slide. So this slide represents 159 local and landed clients that Spark is supporting currently. Of this 159 companies, 90 are local, so local founders. 69 are international founders that are now landed in Durham Region, and we are supporting them through TuSimco. You can see here the sort of broad brush of technologies that we are supporting. We try to stay as agnostic as possible, but we are focused really on 5 core sectors, which I think you will find on slide number 3 when you get a chance to review it. But I think the thing that's maybe of interest to the Economic Development Committee is that this 159 companies represents almost 300 founders. And of those 377 are female founders. When I review their 3-year business plans, which of course they are required to put forward as a client of Spark, collectively this group of companies hopes to generate 871 jobs in the 3-year period since they joined us. And they will be bringing $63 million of capital to the region. Which I think is a really that's a very powerful number to recognize that these startups are bringing that kind of economic weight to the region. The other thing, and maybe just to close, I would say that we have, I think maybe as council knows, we have been actively pursuing a proposal at the federal level through FedDev for some time. We have our 3rd proposal in as we speak, and we are waiting on some decisions, which should probably come late February. Our current proposal is requesting, it's a $5 million proposal requesting about $2.5 million from the feds to come to the region and to Spark Center so we can not only support the clients we have, but because we have a very robust funnel of international startups on their way to the region, some 243 companies still waiting in the queue of IRCC to land, we are in need of some financial support to really build out the infrastructure to welcome these startups and to help them really build and become globally recognized companies out of Durham Region. And with that, I would just like to say thank you or give a little bit of a shout out to Simon, who sits on my board and regularly brings insights from the region to us. And I will open for questions.
Thank you for the presentation, Sherry. We do have questions from a couple members of committee here, starting with Mayor Collier.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask questions from the report? Or is it just on the presentation?
They should be directed to the presentation, but if they're brief, while we have the delegation there, I'll let you ask the question.
In the agenda, actually, I think it says the presentation is on the report, but okay. I want to speak to something, Ms. Colburn, that I didn't see in the presentation, and that was to some of the numbers. We know that during COVID, incubators, tech hubs, innovation centers, whatever you want to call them, some things changed. And just looking at the statistics in our report, page 3 of 5, page 93 of the agenda, shows sort of the numbers from 2014 to 2023, and there is a consistent decline in some of them. So I just want to ask you, what do you see with this? I mean, it looks like, we're dealing with more people working from home, we're dealing with other things. What does this mean to Spark Center?
So, Councillor Collier, during COVID, we did have a lot of startups, basically. I think people that had great ideas sort of backed off because they were, frankly, scared to death of what was coming. That said, we were, as an incubator, still actively involved with, trying to attract clients to Spark Center. And that process of attraction is lengthy. It's not an overnight sensation, as you can probably well imagine. So our numbers were dropping primarily due to COVID and the economic conditions. 2023, as you know, was also a very hard year economically. But I would like to say that where we are currently, 159 very high quality clients, definitely something to be proud of. And we have, as I mentioned, we have, in our queue right now, we have another 243 companies that are waiting to come. So we will soon hit, the highest numbers ever for the region in terms of support for startups.
Okay, that's good to hear, because it's looking at the numbers, it looks like it's declining, which is not a good story. How much do you receive from the region each year? Is it 50,000?
50,000. That was, we used to get 150,000 sort of pre-COVID, in I believe it was 2021, we were rolled back to 50. And that's, where we're at right now.
Okay, and in the report, it talks about a staff complement of 20 full-time employees. Let's hope that the others come, but do you still expect you're going to be expanding to the 4th floor?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've got clients in the queue waiting.
Okay. All right, well, I wish you the best in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Collier. I have Councillor Kerr next.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Sherry. It's always a pleasure to see you and hear your presentation. And right out of the gate, I'm going to say I'm a huge fan of Spark, and not just because it's in my ward. Love what you guys do. So I have 2 questions. And this one's more of a global question, I guess, but it directly impacts on Spark. Several years ago, I heard a presentation about the incubation and generator situation in Ontario, and where there's a stipulation that because there isn't a venture capital mountain of funds in Ontario to keep people here, but they get to a certain point and they get pulled either to Boston or Silicon Valley, and we lose upwards of 1,000 to 1,100 startups a year out of Ontario. So my question to you is, what moves are afoot to collaborate, because that seems to be one of the big words you mentioned today, with other levels of government, financial institutions, to create a venture capital mountain in Ontario so we can keep the brains here, but more importantly, and equally importantly rather, keep the jobs here. Because those jobs are drawn to those areas. That's great for those areas in the States. So what can we do, or what is being done to keep more venture funded startup new companies here so they can develop and hire Canadians and stay in Canada, especially in Durham region?
Yeah, so, very insightful question, Councillor Kerr, and thank you for that. At Spark, unfortunately, we as an incubator don't have a lot of control over the the capital that's floating in Ontario and Canada, but we do collaborate with those that exist. So for example, Angel Investors Ontario, which is an association of the, I think now 14 or 15 angel networks across the province, we are have a strategic partnership with. We have most recently supported the development of a second angel group within Durham region called Angel Investors Durham, which is a second one to Durham Neighborhood Angels. And I was really thrilled just towards the end of last week, I met up with a gentleman from Canadian Business Growth Fund. They too recognize this shortfall and the fact that many companies, are getting to a place and they leave. The Canadian Business Growth Fund really stems from a recognition at the highest levels of government federally to keep our growing and scaling startups here. They're made up of 13 LPs, 5 of the big banks, 3 of our biggest insurance companies, and a smattering of other major financial players. And they are bringing check sizes of anywhere between $8 to $12 million to our startups. They have I think it's a $545 million fund that is evergreen. They've been making somewhere between, what did he tell me? I think about 10 to 12 investments annually. They've made 31 investments to date. And because they're an evergreen fund, they are unlike many other VCs. They're not sort of, we need to get in and out in 2 years and, 10x our investment. They're really a long-term player. So their sweet spot is 5 years, but they have got investments that they've been nurturing right up through 10 years. So I think I was certainly extremely excited to be connected with the Canadian Business Growth Fund. I think they could play a significant role in helping us keep our scaling startups here.
Good. Thank you. I think that's a very key development. Secondly, and this isn't just an Oshawa-centric question, but we just in the last year or so opened up the Northwood Business Park, and that's a growing area. Other municipalities have growth in this area. We have lands along the 407 that we're seeking to open up for future industrial, commercial, and manufacturing growth. So I guess my question is, what sort of clients, and if I can call them graduates, do you have that might benefit from such a development such as Northwood Business Park? Is there a symbiotic relationship that we could see developing there?
I think to date, most of our clients have been sort of ICT, digital. We've got a few med tech companies, but they're not of the size yet that they would be moving, say, into their own facility up in the park. But what excites me about our funnel of, I think now 312 companies that are, sort of in some form or another of coming to us, in that larger funnel, we have a lot of advanced manufacturing or companies that are supporting advanced manufacturing. And so I see our funnel having companies that can hopefully scale and develop into becoming, residents of the park.
And would they also, because of the smaller scale, have a better chance or more opportunity being a subsidiary company, one that supplies services to those larger corporations that are moving in?
For the most part, our clients are very tech, strongly tech and innovation focused. So they're bringing some kind of new innovation to market. So they have intellectual property. So they're more inclined, I believe, to be sort of the creators of their own products. That said, Within the Spark family, we have, I think, about 24 or 25. They're on one of the slides in our deck, sector-specific mentors. And so what I would expect that as these companies are coming forward, these mentors, the reason we brought them in is so that they can connect our clients with current industry that are localized so that there can be creating these collaborative partnerships.
Thank you. And lastly, Mr. Chair, if you'll just indulge me in this one, I'd just say I'm really glad to see in your matrix of areas and client areas that you have the agricultural tech sector now. It's something I pushed last term, and I really hope that we could develop something like, we have an incredible agricultural community and business sector here, and to see that further enhanced with new ideas, I think it's terrific development. So thank you for that, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to ask questions.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Sherry, for your presentation. Good luck on the grant applications you have, and we do have a report later in the agenda on this matter. So, not the grants, but
thank you very much.
Annual work plan. Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
That takes us to the planning agenda. We do not have any correspondence items at this time. Under 7.2, we have 5 planning division reports. We have the 3 advisory committee work plans. Is there going to be any questions on any of those? Could I get a mover to move all 3? And then if anybody has any questions on that, we'll pull them. So Councillor Kerr and Councillor Shahid, that's on items A, B, and C, which is the Durham Agricultural Advisory Committee, the Durham Environmental and Climate Advisory Committee, and the Durham Active Transportation Committee. Any members of the committee wish to speak to any of those items? Good. I'll call the question on those 3. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That moves us to 7D, which is the Smart Mobility Durham 2023 Annual Report and 2024 Work Plan. Do I have a mover and a seconder on that? Councillor Shahid and Councillor Kerr. So it's on the floor. Is there any comments or questions with respect to that? It's for receiving the annual report and the 2024 work plan, and that the work plan be approved and it be forwarded to area municipalities. I'm not seeing any requests, so I'll call the question on that. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That leads us to item E, which is the Durham Region's Active Transportation Progress Report for 2022-2023. Do I have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Shahid and seconded by Councillor Kerr. Any comments or questions on that item? I'm not seeing any. I'll call a question on that. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So I believe that moves us to economic development, which is item number 8. 8.1, we have no correspondence at this time. We do have 2 reports. So 8.2A is the Spark Center Annual Update and Metrics Report for 2022-2023, which is to receive information. I have a mover in Mayor Collier, seconded by Councillor Kerr. So you're moving both A and B? Councillor Kerr, do you concur? So B is the tourism delivery in Durham Region and comments on the Central Counties Tourism Draft 2024-2025 Business Plan. So I have a mover for both in Councillor Collier and a seconder in both for Councillor Kerr. Anyone wish to speak to that item? Councillor Kerr, which item do you wish to speak to?
B, just a quick comment and a bit of backup on the tourism delivery. I guess my comment on the offer from the Central Counties Tourism Draft is the same one I spoke to staff about. I can sum it up in 3 words. No, thank you. I think we have a terrific department here at the region. They work incredibly collaboratively, there's that word again, with area municipalities. Speaking specifically in Oshawa, they've been a huge help with the events and promotion there, and I don't imagine it's any different in any of the other municipalities. So hats off and kudos to our Simon and your staff Jackie's here today too. Thank you very much, and carry on Canada. That's my view on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So I'm going to call the vote, and it is on 8.2, both A and B. I don't see any further comments or questions. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That leads us to, Brian, item 9, which is the resolutions. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. On item 9, we have 2 advisory committee resolutions. The first one is from the Durham Agricultural Advisory Committee from the meeting of November 14th, 2023. On our agenda, it's 9, Roman numeral 1, Bill C-234, an act to amend the Greenhouse Gas Pollution Pricing Act. Do I have a mover? Councillor Kerr? Councillor Shahid? Thank you. So it's on the floor. Is there anyone wishing to speak, or Brian, does any staff wish to speak to it?
No, thank you. It was a resolution from DAC advising that they are in support of an act to amend the Greenhouse Gas Pollution Pricing Act and that it be received for information.
Duly moved and seconded. Any further comments or questions? If there are not any, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. The second item we have, do I have that right? Roman numerals. Anyway, we have the Independent Electricity System Operator Battery Storage Sites resolution. Do I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Kerr, Councillor Shahid. This is a recommendation for approval and subsequent recommendation to Regional Council. The resolution that Council be advised that the Durham Agriculture Advisory Committee, not being in support of battery storage sites being located on or adjacent to agricultural land in Durham region. Brian, did you wish to speak to
that? We did want to note that with regard to this matter of battery storage sites, there may be some views that, in relation to this resolution, that perhaps they not be permitted on agricultural land, but our comment would be that for each and every battery storage facility, there would be a full and fulsome environmental assessment process that would look at the conditions and the impacts, regardless of whether it's agricultural land or environmental or this or that. So as much as, that is the resolution of this committee, I think if we were asked for a further staff advice, it would be, not to let an environmental assessment process inform the process of siting these types of facilities.
Thank you, Brian. I don't see any requests to speak to this. Oh, Councillor Shahid, you just inputted your request. Let me recognize it.
Thank you.
There you go. The floor is yours.
I didn't press the button and sorry. My question only is, some people like Mr. Cahoon are very well versed on this. Is there a possibility to work together with them? And I'm happy to send it off, but is there a way to work together with the committee and see how best the outcome can come?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I would, if I may, suggest that when the time comes, if the time comes, that there's an environmental assessment process underway, that we would bring it to the attention of the Durham Environmental Agricultural Advisory Committee, as we normally would, and Mike Scott sort of makes sure that they're aware of these types of issues that are unfolding, and that they could have that discussion and provide this committee and council with any thoughts and advice they may have.
Thank you. I'm just going to pull your if out. There's a large possibility that it won't happen as well.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. That'll be all.
Thank you, Councillor. I don't see anyone else requesting to speak on this item. Duly moved and seconded. I'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. We're down to number 10, other business. We have no other items of business at this point. Oh, I see Councillor Neal has requested to speak. Councillor Neal, I'm going to recognize you. Councillor Neal, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mr. Vice Chair. Yeah, I just want to get an update from the commissioner. Stop Sprawl Durham has sent something in. Of course, it didn't get on the agenda, but I want to have an update on our official plan, the 9,000 acres that was put into the Greenbelt. Where is that right now in regards to the minister's office? And the second part of that question is, there was something to do with our water rates and everything, and it had to do with new development. Of course, that 9,000 acres is going to be new development as well. And where does that ask for it? So how does that work? Thank you, Mr. Interim Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll go to Brian, but my understanding is that the regional official plan is with the Minister of Municipal Affairs office, and we are waiting for a response, but you may wish to elaborate.
Right, thank you. As recent as yesterday, I was in contact with our counterpart at the ministry, and they are still undertaking their review of the document. So as far as I know, it's not accurate to say it is sitting on the minister's desk for approval. It is still, as far as I know, with Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing staff as they do their review and so on. We've invited to meet and answer any questions they may have, and the response I got back is that that they appreciate the offer and that perhaps in the February timeframe they would be in touch with us. So as it stands at the moment, Councillor Neal, we don't have anything specific in terms of when the regional official plan might be approved. But if I may, Chair, move on to the next part of Councillor Neal's questions. I would just note that when the new official plan is approved, and as it relates to development in these new growth areas of 9,000 acres, that would be quite some time away. And I say that because upon approval, then that sets in motion the commencement of water and wastewater master planning that would need to be done to demonstrate how and when and how much would cost to service all these areas. So all to say that the new official plan isn't having any impact on the 2024 budget, at least not from that standpoint. You know, the form of development on the ground will, in the fullness of time, in those 9,000 acres will be, you know, at fair what we'll call modern suburban densities. But in the meantime, within the existing 2031 urban boundary, the 2031 urban boundary that exists today, there is a very substantial supply of residential units that are in various forms of development, whether they're in site plan approvals or draft approvals or applications that have been received but not yet draft approved. It's a big number, over 70,000, maybe as high as 90,000. We're refining that number and we can report back.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any follow-up, Councillor Neal?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair. And I thank Mr. Brisbane for that reply, because that's really something that you just heard from them yesterday and you got an update, because I didn't know anything about that. But I mean, I'm glad I asked this, and it's probably because of the correspondence that they tried to put on the agenda but didn't get there. But further to that, are we going to still contribute to reserves? I mean, that might not be a question to you as a planner, but we still have to contribute to reserves and be ready for 2035 or 2031. We still have to do that. So it's still going to reach out to the taxpayer, is it not? In regards to that 9,000 acres? Oh, we're talking about Bill 23 when we send out our tax bills. Our tax bills and our water bills. We're blaming Bill 23. What about that 9,000 acres that we are now planning to develop? Will that have an impact going forward in our reserves?
Go ahead, Commissioner, but I note that you would be commenting from this committee's perspective, and
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I couldn't speak to the financial implications of the 9,000 acres, but I do want to emphasize that any development in that new growth area is quite some time away. So, Works Department staff could comment. The impact of the Bill 23, as I understand it, more pertains to the collection of development charges in existing areas as new development is coming forward on a day-by-day basis, and some things are affected that way, and we've heard Commissioner Taylor present on that. But again, it's not an issue, at least for today, that pertains to the 9,000 acres. So we're not even there yet in terms of what the minister is going to do with that. But that's why, Chair, I made the comment that it's, from my standpoint, has no impact on the 2024 budget.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that update. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mr. Vice Chair.
If there's no further other business, I'll speak to item 11, which is the date of the next meeting, which is Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. And I'll encourage a motion of adjournment. Councillor Kerr, Councillor Collier, all in favor of the adjournment. Thank you. That's passed. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.